Welcome the rare gems. The strongest women aren't those who have never been knocked down, but those who get up and keep moving, quietly, powerfully. You're a Sigma female, unstoppable, untouchable, and undeniably dangerous in ways people can't even begin to understand. There's a reason people can't figure you out. You don't move like the rest. You don't beg to belong. You don't play the games. And because of that, you shake people hard. You're what they call a Sigma female, though labels have never really mattered to you. Still, this one fits. It describes the way you walk alone, not out of loneliness, but out of choice. It explains why your silence is louder than their noise, why your calm confidence makes others feel nervous, why your detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. See, people fear what they can't control, and you're untouchable. They can't buy your loyalty. They can't guilt you into staying. They can't shame you into changing. That's what makes you dangerous. Not in a reckless way, but in a deeply grounded, self-possessed way that no one taught you, but you earned. And the people who once tried to dim your light, they're running now. Not because you raised your voice, but because you no longer care to explain yourself. This video is for the women who've been called too much, too distant, too intense, when all you really were was awake. You'll see why being a Sigma female isn't just a mindset, it's a survival code. You'll understand why your independence makes people uncomfortable, and why that's a sign you're doing something right. Continue watching till the end, not for validation, but to remember who the hell you are. Let's get started. The rare gems. Number 1. You win battles no one even knows you're fighting. You win battles no one even knows you're fighting. And that's exactly what makes you so dangerous. While others are out there loudly claiming their victories, seeking applause, or demanding validation for every move they make, you're quietly getting things done. You solve problems before anyone even realizes there's an issue. You tackle challenges in the background without seeking a spotlight, without needing anyone to cheer you on. And that's where your true power lies. Most people need others to see their struggle. They need credit for their efforts, for the world to know how hard they've worked, how much they've sacrificed. You don't need to prove anything. You get it done in silence, making moves and decisions that change the game, while everyone else is still waiting for the green light. It's like watching someone quietly build an empire, while the rest of the world is too busy fighting over crumbs. And that unseen dominance, it messes with people's egos in ways they can't even explain. They know something's happening, something's shifting, but they can't pinpoint it. You don't need to tell people you're winning, because your results speak for themselves. The beauty of your approach is that you don't let anyone else's approval or attention distract you from the goal. You're not looking for admiration. You're too focused on the next step, on solving the problem, on creating the change that others are too short-sighted to see. Meanwhile, your enemies are stuck in their own heads, trying to figure out why they're falling behind. They can't stand the fact that you're moving forward with no fanfare, no recognition, yet somehow always a step ahead. Your quiet victories rattle their sense of control, and in the end, that's what makes them panic. The realization that you were always operating on a different level. You didn't need them to know you were fighting. You just needed to win. Number 2. You don't expose your plans. You let outcomes do the talking. You don't expose your plans. You let outcomes do the talking. While others feel the need to announce every step they take, you choose to work in silence. You know that real power isn't about making noise. It's about letting your results speak for themselves. While people around you are busy tweeting their next move or posting about their strategies, you're quietly setting things in motion. Every decision you make is calculated, every move purposeful, and every result a clear signal of your strength. You understand that if you reveal your intentions too soon, you give others the chance to interfere or adapt. Instead, you keep your cards close to your chest and let your actions create waves that ripple through the room. The outcomes of your efforts aren't just proof of what you've accomplished. They're a declaration of who you are. Your life becomes a living portfolio, showcasing your resilience, intelligence, and unwavering determination without you having to utter a word about it. This approach not only leaves your competitors scrambling to figure out your next move, but it also builds an air of mystery around you. People are drawn to that mystery. They're intrigued by the quiet force that moves mountains without making a fuss. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, you choose to be known by your impact. You measure success not by the number of likes or comments you receive, but by the lasting change you create. Your quiet confidence tells the story of countless battles fought and won behind the scenes. The proof of your power isn't in what you say, it's in the reality of your achievements. And that's what makes you so captivating. When the results roll in, they don't just validate your strategy. They silence the noise, turning every doubter into an admirer. In a time when oversharing is the norm, your restraint becomes your trademark. You let your life's outcomes become the loudest proof of your power, and that truth is something no one can ever ignore. Number 3. You're not mysterious, you're just not desperate. You're not mysterious. You're just not desperate. In a world where oversharing is the norm and everyone feels the need to constantly prove themselves, you choose a different path. You don't feel compelled to reveal every detail of your life or your thoughts. Instead, you keep a little bit back, not to hide secrets or create an enigma, but because you simply aren't interested in performing for anyone. You're not hard to read because you're playing games. You're hard to read because you know your worth and refuse to lower yourself for validation. When people label you as mysterious, what they really mean is that you have boundaries. You don't feel the need to constantly please or entertain those around you. Your silence isn't a tactic to make others guess who you are. It's a deliberate choice to preserve your energy for what truly matters. While others might overshare to fit in or gain approval, you choose quality over quantity. Your words, when you do share them, carry weight because they're chosen with care and intent. This refusal to open the gates too quickly naturally unnerves the insecure. They're used to being able to predict and control others by having access to every detail of their lives. But you, by simply guarding your inner world, send a clear message. You're not available for manipulation. You're not here to be dissected or measured against arbitrary standards. Instead, you focus on your own growth and authenticity. In a sense, your reserved nature is not about hiding, but about thriving on your own terms. It's about prioritizing self-respect and independence over fleeting approval. You stand firm in your decision to keep some parts of yourself private, not out of a desire to be enigmatic, but out of an understanding that true strength comes from within. And as those who thrive on constant validation watch you, they can't help but feel a little insecure, because your quiet confidence shows them that you don't need their approval to be complete. Number 4. Your revenge isn't destruction, it's transformation. Your revenge isn't destruction, it's transformation. You're not the type to seek petty retaliation or fuel cycles of drama. Instead, you choose the ultimate form of revenge, self-evolution. When people wrong you, they might expect a response full of anger, chaos, or direct confrontation. But that's not your style. You don't stoop to their level or engage in the kind of warfare they might want. Instead, you rise above. You transform. With every setback, every betrayal, or every hurt, you don't just endure it, you use it. You channel those negative energies into fueling your growth. You level up in every way possible. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and professionally. The person you were when they wronged you fades into oblivion. You evolve so much that the version of you they hurt no longer exists, leaving them with nothing to latch onto. This evolution doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't require dramatic gestures or public statements. It's a quiet, relentless rise. You make sure that when the people who once thought they could undermine you look back, they don't even recognize the person they tried to bring down. They can't access that old version of you anymore because you've outgrown it entirely. The old you has been left in the dust, transformed into someone unrecognizable and untouchable. That's the kind of revenge that hits hardest. It's not about destroying others, it's about becoming so untouchable, so elevated, that the people who once tried to diminish you can only watch in awe and regret. Your strength isn't in retaliation. It's in your ability to rise, to evolve, and to leave your past behind. By doing this, you show the world that the best revenge isn't chaos or destruction. It's becoming someone so powerful The past can't touch you anymore. Number 5. You're not cruel, but you're capable. You're not cruel, but you're capable. There's a big difference between being kind and being weak, and you embody that distinction. On the outside, you're calm, composed, and peaceful. People around you might assume that this is who you are, that you're someone who avoids conflict, who doesn't want to make waves. What they don't understand, what terrifies them, is that your peace is a choice, not a limitation. You've got the strength to act when necessary, but you don't waste it. You don't engage in every petty argument or low-level confrontation. Instead, you reserve your power for when it truly matters, and that's where the fear comes in. Your haters know this. They think you're passive, easy to overlook, or someone who will simply let things slide. But that's a dangerous assumption to make. What they don't see is the vast well of capability that lies beneath your calm exterior. You've built discipline and control over your emotions, but underneath that surface there's a raw power waiting to be unleashed. You've learned to keep it in check because you know the value of restraint. You've learned to wait for the right moment, the one when you can act decisively and with precision. When someone finally pushes you too far, when they cross that invisible line, they quickly realize their mistake. It's not about being cruel or vengeful. It's about your ability to switch from peaceful to powerful in an instant. And that's what they can't handle. The truth is, you're not passive or weak. You're simply someone who chooses peace until it's no longer an option. When you act, it's never out of emotion. It's out of necessity. And in that moment, your haters see the strength they underestimated, and it's too late for them to turn back. Number 6. Your unpredictability terrifies people who rely on predictability to manipulate others. Your unpredictability isn't a flaw, it's your sharpest weapon, and most people can't handle it. See, the world is full of people who survive by knowing exactly how others will react. They study patterns, they rely on routines, they poke emotional buttons just to see the same responses play out over and over again. That's their power, predictability. But you throw a wrench in all of that. You don't react the way they expect. You don't play into guilt. You don't chase after approval. You don't even flinch when they try to bait you. And that terrifies them, because they realize real quick they have no power over you. That's when the panic sets in. People who rely on control need you to be readable. They need to know what you'll do next, what you'll say, how you'll feel. But you're not giving them a script to work with. You're not handing them the remote to your emotions. You're not playing your cards just because someone demands to see your hand. You move when you want, not when someone tries to pull your strings. And that silence you give them, that unreadable expression, that calm, steady energy when they expected drama or tears, that's what makes them spiral. Because when someone can't predict you, they can't use you. And when they can't use you, they lose control. That's when the smear campaigns start. That's when they call you cold, too much, or dangerous. It's not because you've done something wrong. It's because they've lost their ability to manipulate you. And the truth is, you were never dangerous. You were just unwilling to be used. And in a world that thrives on emotional games and control tactics, that makes you the most dangerous kind of person there is. Someone who's emotionally free. Stay unpredictable. Let them run. You're not here to be understood by manipulators. You're here to stay rooted in your power. Number 7. She's not mysterious, you just weren't paying attention. People love to slap the mysterious label on Sigma females, especially after they vanish. They say things like, "I don't know what happened," or "She just disappeared out of nowhere." But let's be honest, that's not mystery. That's you not paying attention. She didn't vanish suddenly. She slowly backed away, day by day, word by word, moment by moment. You just missed it. You missed how her responses got shorter, how her eyes stopped lighting up when you spoke, how she stopped sharing her thoughts as openly. You were too busy hearing yourself talk, assuming she'd always be there while she was already halfway out the door, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. A Sigma female doesn't ghost people for fun. She detaches in stages, quiet stages, thoughtful stages. She tests the waters to see if anyone notices her fading energy. If no one does, that tells her everything she needs to know. She gives signals, oh, so many. But she's not going to beg you to care. She's not going to wave a flag and scream, "I'm slipping away." That's not her style. If she has to fight for your attention, she's already lost interest. People confuse her silence with mystery, but it's really just self-preservation. She tried, she showed up, she gave you chances to meet her halfway, and when you didn't, she didn't explode. She exited. And now that she's gone, you want to label her as cold, distant, hard to understand. But the truth is, you just weren't listening. You missed the moment she stopped being invested. You missed the subtle shift in her energy. And by the time you noticed she was missing, she'd already been gone for a while. So no, she's not mysterious. You just never learned how to really see her. Number 8. You don't bark, you just bite when it's time. People are used to noise. The loud talkers, the attention seekers, the ones who make sure everyone knows their every move. It's almost like they think volume equals power. But you don't need to bark. You don't need to shout. You don't need to make a scene to get your point across. You operate in silence, with a precision that makes your actions speak louder than any words ever could. And when you strike, it's not a spectacle. It's quiet, calculated, and most importantly, final. There's no need for dramatic build-up or warnings. You move when it matters. You wait until the moment is right, and when you do act, it's done. No back and forth, no hesitation. It's swift, it's precise, and it's over. That's the kind of fear that lingers. Not the kind that shakes people up for a moment, but the kind that sticks with them long after. The kind that makes them question their every move around you because they know you've got the power to end it all in an instant, but you choose not to. The threat of your bite is more terrifying than the loudest bark because they never see it coming, and when it happens, it's already too late. People who expect you to make noise or seek attention are always caught off guard. They think they've got you figured out. They think they can rile you up, get a reaction, or push you to respond the way they want. But they forget one crucial thing. You don't operate on their timeline. You wait, you watch, and when you finally decide it's time to act, you make sure they know it's not a warning. It's a decision, and the consequences are inevitable. You don't need the theatrics. You are the quiet force they should have feared all along. Number 9. Your independence invalidates their entire strategy. Your independence isn't just a trait, it's a force. It's the silent power that completely invalidates everything your enemies have tried to build around you. They think they can starve you out, isolate you, or threaten you with loss, but none of it works. Why? Because you've structured your life in a way that doesn't rely on anyone else's systems, and that makes you untouchable. Most people depend on external validation, relationships, money, status, social circles. It's what makes them vulnerable. If you control their access to these things, you control them, but not you. You've built a life where the things that matter most can't be taken away. You don't need anyone's approval to move forward. You don't rely on the same systems that others do, and that's what drives them crazy. They can try to cut off your resources, isolate you from people, or dangle fear in front of you, but it won't work. You're self-sufficient. You've created a fortress of independence, and it's impenetrable. They can't use your weaknesses against you because they don't know where your strengths lie. Your power doesn't come from others. It comes from the quiet foundation you've built for yourself. They think they can force you into a corner, make you beg for what you had before, but instead, they just reveal their desperation. They're playing a game where the rules don't apply to you, and they don't know how to handle it. When they see that you're not afraid of losing what they can take away, that's when they panic. They realize that their strategy falls apart, because you're not like anyone they've ever dealt with. You don't need them. You've mastered the art of standing alone, and in a world that thrives on dependency, that makes you more powerful than they could ever imagine. Number 10. You don't try to belong, and that's your weapon. You don't try to belong, and that right there is your weapon. In a world obsessed with fitting in, following trends, and doing what everyone else is doing just to feel accepted, you're the rare one who walks in the opposite direction. You don't crave inclusion. You don't need a seat at anyone's table. In fact, you're the type to build your own damn table. with no name tags, no rules, and no audience. And that throws people off. See, when someone refuses to conform, it makes the system nervous. You can't be labeled, you can't be boxed in. You're not part of any echo chamber or hive mind, and that drives them wild because it means they can't predict you. And worse, they can't control you. They want you to join the herd so they can figure you out. Once you're in, they can watch your moves, study your habits, find your weak spots, and soften your edges. That's the goal, to tame you. But you're allergic to all that. You don't do well in crowds that think the same, speak the same, and live just to be accepted. You're not built for that. You value freedom over approval, authenticity over applause. And here's the real kicker. They don't know what to do with someone they can't influence. Your refusal to play the belonging game makes them uneasy, because they realize they have no power over you. You're not looking for their validation. You're not applying to be one of them. You've already chosen to be you, fully, unapologetically, and without compromise. That's why your presence is powerful. That's why you stand out without even trying, because you're not here to blend in. You're here to disrupt. And the moment they realize you can't be swayed by approval or inclusion, they stop trying to recruit you and start fearing what you'll do next. Number 11. You know when to disappear and when to re-emerge more powerful. You know when to disappear. And that right there is a superpower most people don't understand. In a world that's addicted to being seen, heard, and constantly on, your ability to step back is both rare and threatening. But your retreat isn't weakness, it's a strategy. While others think you've gone quiet, what's really happening is a total recalibration. You're not hiding, you're reloading. See, you don't believe in burning out just to keep up appearances. When something feels off or the energy around you turns toxic, you vanish, not in fear, but with purpose. You retreat to get clear, to reflect, to refine your vision. You don't explain, justify, or announce it. You just go. And that silence, it makes people uncomfortable, especially the ones who thrive on drama or feed off your presence. Your absence speaks louder than any outburst could. And here's what really shakes people. When you reappear, you're not the same. You come back sharper, smarter, more grounded. The version of you they thought they had figured out, she's gone. You evolve in silence. And when you show up again, it's not just a comeback, it's an upgrade. You return with a new level of clarity and power that throws off everyone who expected you to stay the same. They thought your disappearance was the end, but you were just getting started. That's what makes you so dangerous. You move in cycles of growth, retreat, rebuild, rise. No one ever sees the full extent of what you're becoming until it's too late to catch up. So while others are busy trying to be seen, you're mastering the art of disappearing and coming back with a vengeance. That's not just strategy, that's transformation. And it keeps you untouchable. In the end, what makes you so dangerous isn't the noise you make, but the quiet power you hold. You're a Sigma female because you know your worth without needing anyone else to define it for you. You don't follow trends, seek validation, or fight for attention. Instead, you live by your own rules, building a life that's untouchable and leaving a trail of awe and fear in your wake. Your strength comes from within, and the more you evolve, the more others realize just how powerful you truly are. Your haters are running because they can't manipulate you, control you, or predict you. They can't get to you the way they can with others, and that is their biggest fear. They may try to push you down, question your intentions, or undermine your efforts, but what they fail to realize is that their attempts only highlight their own weaknesses, not yours. You're not here for the drama. You're here to rise, to grow, and to leave a legacy that's bigger than the petty games people try to play. Embrace that power. Don't shrink from it. You are the living proof that strength doesn't need to be loud, that resilience doesn't need an audience, and that influence doesn't need followers. Keep being the force that shifts the energy in every room you walk into. Your enemies can't stand that they'll never be able to get close enough to truly understand you. And that's exactly why you're the most dangerous force they'll ever encounter. So keep walking your path and let the world marvel at your silence, your growth, and the legacy you're quietly building. You don't need their approval, their understanding, or their support because you are enough and your power is undeniable. Thank you for watching The Rare Gems, and God bless you.